All right, thank you, Kelly. All right, good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us for our public meeting this evening. I'm Melanie Jollitt, and I'll be your host tonight. I'm going to share my screen here in a second. And we will get this started. Well, let's see here, maybe. Technical difficulties, hold on one second. There we go. All right. Jeff, will you let me know when you can see that?
Yeah, we can see it. I can
Okay.
see
Yep,
it.
we can see it. You might hit presentation mode.
Will do. All right.
Go, looks good.
All right. All right. As I said, everybody, I'm Melanie Jollitt. I'm the Water Distribution Division Head here at Kansas City Water. And this is the public meeting for the water main replacement in the area of West City limits to Wornall Road, West 85th Street to West 93rd Street at I-143rd and Bannister Road. We are recording this meeting. I'm going to go over a couple of logistics and protocols since we are doing this virtually. We are recording this meeting, and then after the public meeting, the next day or two, we'll have this the recording of this meeting posted to our website, and we'll have a link to that at the end of the presentation so you can share this with neighbors or revisit anything that you want to see. If you wish to ask a question, there should be a show conversation or raise your hand feature at the top of the screen if you're on your computer. Please feel free to use the chat question, raise your hand, and we can let you speak and ask your questions at any time during the presentation. If you're on the phone and you wish to ask a question, just go ahead and address the meeting moderator, the speakers who are speaking, and we'll just let you ask your questions directly from your phone. If you still have questions after the meeting, we'll have Kelly Finn's contact information up, and you can contact Kelly at the end of the presentation or in the next couple of days if you get any additional questions. Okay, so tonight we have a couple of folks from Kansas City Water speaking and presenting on this project. We do have also on the line, and will not be speaking, our Deputy Director, Matt Bond. We also have Jeff Martin, our Chief Engineering Officer, myself, the Water Distribution Division Head, Kelly Finn, our Project Manager, Greg, our Water Inspector, and John, who is our contractor with Pyramid Excavation.
Melanie and Terry's just jumped on as well. So
Perfect. We also have our Director, Terry Leeds, on the call as well. So to kick things off, I'm going to turn this over to Jeff Martin, and he's going to give an overview of Kansas City Water and kind of the utilities and the services that we offer. Terry, or Jeff?
let me unmute and you can hear me speak a little better. So good evening, and thanks everyone for joining us tonight. So while we are here to talk about a water main replacement project, we always like to take a little time to just remind everyone that here at KC Water, we not only provide the clean water for your drinking water to you, but we also provide your wastewater service and your stormwater service. So we really are three utilities rolled up into one. So Melanie, you can jump to the next slide. So, and with that, we really takes a lot of employees, a lot of hours to keep everything operational, functional for everybody, as well as a lot of assets to maintain. So we do have one treatment plant here at KCMO that provides the clean drinking water for everybody, and another 18 pump stations to get that water around the city. And it takes about 2,800 miles of water mains buried in the ground to transport that water around all the houses, businesses, and other commercial users around the city. On the wastewater side, we actually have 6 wastewater treatment plants that clean the water before it is discharged back into the river system. We like to say that many times the water goes back into the rivers cleaner than what it comes out. So, and then another 2,800 miles of sewer mains throughout the city to move that wastewater around as well. And then the third utility that we oversee is our stormwater utility. So about 630 miles of storm sewer pipe throughout the neighborhoods, throughout the city to move that rainfall from off the streets, curb and gutter, and into the system. And then we have over 13 miles of levees throughout KCMO as well. So along the Missouri River, Blue River, and other smaller rivers throughout the area to really help protect residents and businesses from getting flooded. And then it all ties back into to our one water source, which here in KCMO is the Missouri River. So we pull the water out of the river to clean that everyone drinks. The water from the storm sewers ultimately flow back into the Missouri River, and then the wastewater from the plants discharge into the tributaries and rivers, and eventually end up in the Missouri River. So very important that we take care of our water source, that we keep it clean, keep debris, keep oils, greases out of the storm sewer system, and really ensure that we have a good, safe, clean drinking water for years to come. So with that, I'll let Melanie talk about the water main replacement program.
Thanks, Jeff. So just a quick overview of the water main replacement program, because the project that we're going to talk about tonight is part of this water main replacement program. As Jeff mentioned, we do have over 2,800 miles of water mains throughout our distribution system. Some of these mains date back to the 1800s, and they're made of material, cast iron pipe, some ductile iron pipe, some PVC pipe, but different materials throughout the distribution system as well. Aging infrastructure is a nationwide challenge, so it's not something just strictly here in Kansas City. But we did develop a program about 7 years ago to replace 1% of our water mains a year, and that equates to about 28 miles every year. And so we just kicked off our 8th year, but in our 7th year, we did replace our 200th mile. So we've replaced over 200 miles to date since this program has been in place. And so really, how do we decide what mains we're going to replace each year? So we do have some data-driven priorities that we look at when we evaluate the condition of our water mains. And so we're looking at likelihood and consequence of failure. So we're evaluating components such as age of pipe, how many breaks a pipe has had, material of the pipe, certain different components of the pipe to develop the likelihood and consequence of failure. From that, we're able to establish a risk of each pipe. And we do this every year. We do have a pretty innovative computer software program that helps us evaluate this every year. And we're able to pick 28 miles of the highest risk mains every year and develop those into projects. Every project that we have, we design the new mains to be zinc coated ductile iron pipe. And they're wrapped in a polyethylene sleeve. This really gives the new pipes that we're putting in, about 100-year lifespan. So the condition and the design age of the infrastructure that we're installing is a lot greater than what's in the ground currently. The long-term effects of this, we should have less breaks because it is the ductile iron pipe. This is going to reduce maintenance costs, but it also is going to increase capacity and fire flow protection as we get those new pipes installed. So it's really a good program that we're able to implement, and we are going to talk about the project tonight that's part of this water main replacement program. So with that, Kelly, I'm going to turn this over to you so you can talk to our project specifics.
Okay, thank you, Melanie. So this project will install approximately 1.5 miles of new ductile iron pipe water main in 8 locations. One location is along State Line Road, Meadow Lake Parkway to West 76th Street. Another segment within the Ward Parkway Park Center, just west of the Target store and south of Chick-fil-A drive-through. And then starting at West 85th Terrace and going along State Line Road, and then continuing on West 85th Street to Ward Parkway is another segment. And then along West 85th Street, Summit to Wornall. And then along West 92nd Street, State Line to Ward Parkway. Along Holly Street, West 90th Terrace to West 89th Street. Along 91st Street, Holly Street to Western Hills Drive, and then continuing south on Western Hills Drive to West 91st Terrace. And then lastly, 1 to 143 West Bannister Road, which is within the Stonehenge townhomes. So this slide basically describes the steps of a typical water main replacement. First, the contractor will provide written notice before starting work on your block. So you'll have plenty of notice, but you'll see utilities will be marked, and there may be some potholing to verify locations and elevations at critical locations. A traffic control plan will be implemented, and then assuming the new main will be installed in pavement, which is typically our case here. They will saw cut the pavement, excavate a narrow trench in the street, and bury the new pipe in gravel. At that point, they'll construct a temporary connection of the new pipe to an existing pipe. This may require main shut, though it would be less than 4 hours with the water shut off. At that point, they'll test and disinfect the new water main. And then this require at least a week to get the results back. So within that, after they test it, there will be little activity on the block. So with both the new and the old water mains in service, the contractor will transfer service lines to the new pipe. We'll talk a little bit more about that on the next two slides, but if the meter is inside, we'll remove it and install a new one in your yard. So basically both mains, the old and the new, will be in service in parallel to each other until all the water lines are transferred. And at that point, they'll construct a permanent connection and abandon the old water main. This will require a main shut. Again, less than 4 hours, hopefully water shut off. You will receive notice of these water shuts. And then restoration, temporary and permanent, we will restore curb, sidewalk, driveways, and in-season lawns. In this project, there will be very little removal and replacement of driveways, and maybe some limited curb. There will be some disturbance to lawns, but I think it will be limited. Next slide, please. Okay, again, what to expect. There'll be large equipment, such as a backhoe in use and a front loader, creating noise, potentially creating dusty conditions and some noise, but it will be controlled to the extent that we can do that. Water service will be interrupted for short periods of time, as we discussed, up to possibly 3 times. And you will be notified beforehand with door hangers or other means. Again, affected curbs, driveways, and other pavement will be restored per KCMO Public Works Department standards. And then disturbed established lawn areas will be sodded after work is completed and as the season permits. Ordinary travel routes will be temporarily restricted during the project on your block. In this overall project, again, we'll reduce the chance of a water main break on your block in the future, and it will enhance fire protection. Make sure that we install new hydrants in neighborhoods at least every 600 feet. Okay, this slide shows a typical water service line installation from the main into the home under our current standards. So the main components are that it shows a water main out in the street, and then it has a service line running from the water main to a curb stop valve. The curb stop is, as it indicated, is a shut-off valve, and it's typically approximately 1 foot behind the curb. Additional components would be a meter tile. We call it a tile, T-I-L-E, out in the yard, which flush to the ground, about 20 inches in diameter. And that contains the meter, the water meter, and also an automatic meter reading device. From the meter tile, it goes into the residence. Typically, you'd have a pressure reducing valve and a shutoff valve in the basement. So in our project, most of the transfers will consist of a new tap on the new main, and then a service line run to install a new curb stop valve. and then connect to the existing service line. So there should be limited disturbance, and it'd be primarily in right-of-way in the yard. We do have some limited transfers. If the meter tile is in a right-of-way, such as on the other side of the sidewalk or something, we will relocate the meter tile so it's approximately on the right-of-way or within the approximately 1 foot inside the property line.
Hey, Kelly, I'm gonna jump in real fast.
Sure, go ahead.
Looks like Miss Paulson has a question. So Kathy? It looks like you're muted, so be sure to unmute yourself.
Okay, all right. We lost the overhead. Your PowerPoint. Yeah, PowerPoint.
I can still see it on my end.
I can see on mine.
Okay. Well, shoot. It must be us then. Sorry. That's okay.
We may be able to send it to there'll be a recording on this, so
Okay.
Yep, sorry about that. We can see it on our end, so maybe
It might
on
be.
your side.
Yeah, it might be.
Okay.
All right.
All right, you can jump back in, Kelly.
okay. I think we're done with that slide. The next slide shows a typical installation prior to our current water standards, where the meter is inside the residence. So this is important because we have some meters that are inside the residence on this project, and we will be moving those to the outside under our current standards so that the meters can be maintained without making an appointment. We have better access to the meters, and it's just a lot easier to deal with than trying to get inside a residence to maintain the meter and other equipment associated with that. So in this case, we will basically install a new meter tile approximately at the right-of-way line, and then provide a service line that would be tapped to the new main, and then a new curb stop valve, and then connect to the new meter tile. This will require the contractor will have to set up an appointment with the owner of the residence to send a plumber out to remove the interior meter and install a copper pipe in the gap. Still relatively minor disturbance in the yard. And again, it's just important for us to bring as many meters we can up to our current standards. So the project sequencing and duration, this project is basically from June 2021 to July 2022, 8 separate locations that we've talked about. We will start on water main replacements at 1-143 West Bannister Road, and then other locations will be scheduled following completion of that initial replacement. Contractor, again, will provide written notice prior to start of work on any of these areas. The water main replacement within the Ward Parkway Shopping Center will be scheduled for early 2022 to be so that we work around the center's schedule. And again, anticipated start date would be probably mid to late June. And then for more information, again, there will be that's an address for a website, and you can find this project for an information sheet and to download the recording tonight that we're making tonight. And then you can obviously contact, again, John Wright, Pyramid Excavation, if there's a concern, Greg Gillespie, which is going to be our KC Water resident inspector on the project, or myself. Any questions?
Like we had.
Okay, I have. Oh, it looks like you got other questions.
Yeah, we had one come out in the chat from Kenny, who's on with us tonight. Says he came home today and noticed that his water covers in his yard were painted white. Is that part of the project?
I don't believe it is. What's your address, Kenny?
If you just want to send it in the chat, if you don't have a microphone,
Oh.
we can check it out. So
What would be painted white?
Is that-
8694 Summit. So
So what was that again, Jeff?
8604 Summit.
Oh, was that over by, what's her name?
No, she's over here.
Oh, okay.
We'll have to check into that some. So I don't think we've got any markings going on for this project as of yet. So
No,
could
we
be-
don't.
Could
So,
be related to something else.
okay.
Yeah. They're gonna kick us out of the meeting.
You can go ahead.
But we're not muted now.
No.
I just wanted to make sure that you said where you would start would be the addresses 1 to 143 West Bannister Road.
Correct.
Okay, that's where we're at.
Yeah.
And-
I know.
and-
I know. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, my question is, I'm at 17 West Bannister, my water meter is inside. So you're saying that I will be contacted when that meter needs to be moved outside?
Yes, my understanding, the meters are in the garage. Is that correct?
Well, in the garage, yes,
So
and
it's kind of a
mine,
unique situation. So we'll
right,
have
and
to,
I think it's just my row of buildings that has that too. Is it? Yeah,
so we'll have to find a place to move the meter out of the garage out into this drive.
okay,
So we intend to do that.
okay.
We
So
can.
the meter would go, right now, my meter is on the east side of my condo in the front side. So you're thinking that the meter would be placed on the west side where the garage door opening would be?
Yes, I would. We'd have to
Okay.
go out and look at, but I.
Okay,
seems like-
that's fine.
It'd go in line with the curb stop, wouldn't it, Kelly?
Yes, it would.
Okay,
Not only after they get the new main installed and they're ready to transfer your feed over to that new main. So once they get everything installed out in the street, then they'll come back to and notify you about that meter relocation.
okay. That's all I have. Do you have anything right now?
No.
Okay, we'll go back to mute.
It sounds like John Wright's on the call. So John, do you have anything to add in for scheduling?
Well,
for
I
us?
think she was asking about where her meter would be relocated. It's going to be out, like Kelly said, just out within the right of way. And that's going to be contingent upon wherever the curb stop is. So it's not going to be in the garage anymore.
Yep. Any other questions from the group? See if we have another hand up. I thought maybe. Looks like Mr. Johnson.
Yeah, I own a Strips Chicken there at 85th and Wornall on the 85th side more than the Wornall side, unfortunately, according to this project. How much disruption will there be on 85th Street during the actual installation of this, and how long would that stretch last? How long would that be under construction and having, it tore up? Each little section of that project, like how long would that portion of the project last? 2 or 3 months, or?
John, do you want to answer that, or you have?
Yeah, I would say that or less, but we backfill our trenches as we go, so we'll try to keep disruption down to a minimum, because we backfill the lines as we go, and they get tested after they're all backfilled and paved and everything. So it's not like we're going to have trenches open for weeks on end. We lay the pipe and we backfill as we go.
Okay, but will it be 2 lanes of traffic versus 4, or will the whole road be shut down, or how is that going to work?
The whole road won't be shut down. Kelly, I don't have a set of plans in front of me. Is that one on the side of the road there?
Yeah, unfortunately, it's in the pavement. And there's a sewer that runs on both sides of the street, so we're kind of farther out into the pavement than we had than typically we would have done to get distance from the sewers. So I would assume we could still maintain two lanes of traffic.
Well, I can tell you this, we like to maintain as much traffic as we can because we have to pay per day for having those lanes closed. So
Yeah.
we'll be moving as fast as we possibly can.
Okay. And then like during the 4 hours of shut off or up to 4 hours of shut off several different times, will that, I mean, with those, I assume those are going to be during our normal business hours of having the restaurant open, right?
Well, on a lot of these, where there's businesses involved, we end up having to do night shuts.
Oh, okay.
So we
All right,
don't.
we close
so we
at,
don't.
yeah, we close at 9 and are pretty much out of there by 10 at night. So we don't, we get there about 8. So we're not like a super late night business or anything like that. But okay, well that's helpful. All right, I just right at the end of the pandemic at the end of the lockup last year, when we opened everything back up in August, we were still open, but right when they opened everything back up, then they shut down Santa Fe over by our Olathe location. There was this huge long, several months of having to drive, 3 or 4 miles out of the way to get to us, and they could only come in from one side, and it had a dramatic, effect on our business, about 40% during those 3 months. So, these traffic things can really get expensive.
So Kenny, where's your restaurant located again? Right at 85th and Wornall?
85th and Wornall, yeah. It's 420 West 85th. So our only access is from 85th. I mean, they can pull through the Price Chopper United Missouri Bank parking lot and drive across over to us.
So that's
the old KFC Long John.
Yeah, that's just what I was going to say. Yep, the old KFC.
So, but the water line's in the center of the street. Then is that where it is?
No, it's in the lane. It's going to be in that lane. I guess it would be the south lane of 85th.
Oh, okay. So
but we typically yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So people will be driving up against my business because I'm on the north. So the 2 lanes will be up against me as opposed to being south.
Right.
I believe south of me. So that'll be helpful, I think.
Yeah. And we can work with the contractor on the location of that main, but the problem is they got a sewer on each side of the street, which is somewhat
right.
But
okay.
So.
Okay. Well, that's helpful. Thank you.
Anyone else have any questions for us?
I would just like to compliment you on this presentation. When I have my place over, my place over in Olathe, Johnson County, they just shut the street down. Like one day we went and it was, or I guess they gave us about a 1 week notice, I guess, but there was no information, nothing ahead of time. And it really sent us all scrambling. So I really appreciate the cards that were sent out and the thoroughness of this information. So thank you.
You're very welcome.
And Kenny, you should have my phone number too, and I'll be the main point of contact.
You probably have to hit the hand.
If there's something you don't like, feel free to call me because I carry that phone 24/7.
Okay. All right, thank you.
We have another question.
All right, go ahead.
Actually, it was a comment, and I just wanted to thank, I can't remember who it was that came out and walked our entire property with the HOA board and pointed out, because we'd done quite a bit of landscaping and improvement on our properties. And so I swear I can't remember who came out, but they did a great job of walking through and telling us how much was going to be torn up and where the pipes were going to go. And so we just did a walk through the whole condominium complex. So that was very helpful. Just wanted to thank you for that.
Yeah, we'll have another walkthrough with John or the foreman before we start work out there.
Okay.
And then another thing, ma'am, is we will reach out to one of our pre-construction documentation companies, and they'll have extensive photographs of everything before we turn the first scoop of dirt. So if there's any questions, we can always revert back to those drawings. If a shrub gets disturbed or, you know, there was something here or there, that it'll all be documented. We won't be running blind on this.
Will the heavy equipment be pulled off the property each night after they finish their day's work, or will they leave it?
No, it's too dangerous to try to do that and move it, you know, from different locations, because none of these pieces of equipment are licensed for road use. They usually come in on a trailer, but the equipment will move along as the pipe is laid, so it's not going to be sitting in one area for very long.
Okay. Okay. Do they have a
And
timeline? Go ahead.
there's nothing really big. Probably the biggest machine we'll have out there is a backhoe, and you know they fold up pretty
Oh.
small. It's not like we're going to have, you know, big excavators or anything, because this is basically a small water main project for us. So we'll probably have like a bobcat and a small excavator and a backhoe. So that there's probably just going to be 3 pieces of equipment.
Okay. Did they have a timeline for just Stonehenge, how long it would take to do all the buildings? We have 7.
You know, I'm sorry, I don't have that information in front of me, but when we get closer, we can communicate and give you a narrower time frame. But
Okay.
But it moves. Getting the pipe in the ground goes pretty fast.
Okay.
If there's pavement involved, we'll saw way out ahead of the work we have to do. So,
Okay.
you know, we're basically digging it up, dropping the pipe in the ground, and backfilling. So
Okay.
it's continually moving. We're not going to be like out in front of your house for weeks on end. You know.
Okay. Will we have the steel plates laying down anywhere on the?
Oh, only if we have to.
Okay.
Because we don't like using those, because we got to
Yeah.
pay for them as well. So we keep them to a minimum.
Okay. Yeah, I don't like driving over them. Okay.
No, nobody does.
You have anything else? Okay. All right. We're going to mute.
All right. Thank you.
Hey,
Anyone else have
John.
any questions for us?
I'm John. Just Kelly again.
Mhm.
What do you use for temporary surfacing then? You put like
We use AB3
AB3.
because once it's wet and dries, it's like concrete, you know, and we'll have to maintain that. But we find that to work best. And being, you know, 9 lines, we'll have TNARC, our minority participant, will be coming back and paving. We're not going to do the whole 9 lines and then come back and start paving.
Sure. Yeah.
We'll work it as we go and try to keep the duration of the AB3 down, you know, to a minimum throughout the entire project.
All right. Any other questions for us tonight?
You know, Kelly, on some of these, we actually pour the concrete and then we'll put plastic down and put a 2-inch cap. So it just depends on how much traffic there is. And then when it comes time to do the asphalt, then we could just, the 2-inch cap breaks away easy because of the plastic, you know, barrier in between. So it just depends on the traffic conditions, how heavily it's traveled, as to which approach we take.
Yeah. There's going to be a lot of traffic on some of those streets. So.
And they'll probably get that method.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'd like to thank everybody for joining us tonight. Melanie, you have anything else to close with?
Nope, I just want to thank everybody for coming. We left Kelly's contact information up there, but in the website. So please, if you have any other questions, download the presentation and contact Kelly or John. And thank you everybody for coming tonight. We appreciate it.
Is the presentation under the kansascitywater.us projects tab then?
Correct.
Okay, that's great. Thank you so much, Melanie. It was a
Thanks, you guys.
good presentation.
Thank you all for
All right.
joining.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Night. Okay. I'm going to stop recording.
Okay.